Alright, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a CHE trunnion upgrade on the LT4 motor that we're working on. And we got some help today, and some more help. So she's seen me do this quite a few times. So we're going to see if my directions pay off and she knows what she's doing. So first thing you want to do is open up your box, look at your jewelry here, make sure you got everything you need. Right?
Fancy, fancy.
So the biggest part of all this you're looking at right here, all these directions, the biggest part you're looking at is where it tells you, let's see, right here. At this point you will need to install a snap ring onto the end of the trunnion with the sharp edge of the ID facing away from the bushing. That's the hardest part of this kit. So there's your snap rings. So once you get, and she's practiced a few, but once you get all the old trunnions, factory trunnions removed, the hardest part is detecting or figuring out which is the sharp edge away from the bushing. So we'll get into that in a second, but that's the hardest part. So everything looks good. Everything looks like it's there. You've got both your bushings. You've got all your trunnions. So everything's good. And then over here we have our snap ring pliers with our snap ring head already installed. And then we have, this is the scary part, one extra snap ring. So we
no pressure.
no pressure, but there's not a lot of room for any kind of mistake. If you open up a snap ring too much and you bend it, it's toast, it's trash. So just got to make sure you get these right. So other than that, you can continue pressing out the old trunnions into the trash. So she has a 7/8 shallow socket, and she's putting it up against the flats that are on the one side of that rocker, and then she's using a 9/16 to press it out.
Okay.
And I'm kind of giving her a little bit of hand. This is a lot easier with two people.
Nope, that's not on fully.
Okay. You just want to make sure everything's centered up. That's what she's doing right now, is making sure it's all centered. If it's not centered, you'll know almost immediately. As soon as you start trying to press it, you'll know something's not right.
There we go. Okay. Can you start twisting it a little bit? There we go. I think that's good.
Okay. She's a little nervous about putting her hand in here like I do, but there you go. I see it pushing. Push, push, push. There you go. That's it. So, and then she's going to show you why we do this, possibly, if anything came apart. I'm not sure if it came apart completely.
Yep.
So,
Right there.
there you go. All those needle bearings come apart. This particular LT4 is getting a pretty large cam. And,
Uh-oh. I threw away the 9/16.
she threw the 9/16 in the trash. That's great. So I've kind of went over this before. Put your fingers in the middle of that trunnion. It stops and it stops, right? You feel it stop. When you put these on, they don't stop.
Oh, they just keep going?
Right. So it gives you 360 degrees of movement, which won't limit you when you put a bigger cam in. And there's no needle bearings to fall apart and destroy your motor. The particular motor you're doing these for right now is about a $15,000 engine. So, no big deal.
No pressure. Okay. There we go. Yep, there.
Yep, you feel it push, 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 and there it comes out. So, don't throw away my socket
I'm not
this
going to throw
time.
away your socket this time.
So that's the general idea. I don't have a press. I use the vise, and I'm not going to say she's not that strong, but she's not as strong as I am, and she's doing it with no trouble. So anybody watching shouldn't have any issues. right?
Nope.
No.
You didn't think I could do this part.
I thought you'd have trouble doing this part. We'll see when you get to the snap ring part of how confident you are. There it goes. There you are. So once you get all the factory trunnions out, what you want to do is go through the center like she's doing right now with just a rag. She's using one of my old socks or her old socks, I don't know. And just make sure all the debris and trash is out. And sometimes the needle bearings, they kind of stick around. They stick to everything, so this will be a good chance to make sure all the needle bearings are in the trash where they should be. So that's kind of the hardest part besides figuring out the snap rings. The hardest part is getting this pressed out. After that, it's pretty much easy. The CET trunnions is by far the best kit, I think, right now on the market. All right, so what are you doing right now?
Making sure the rough side is up.
Rough side facing up. Now, you do yours however you want to do it, but the way I've showed her how to install these is we're going to grab them off the workbench with the snap ring pliers. So if our rough side is always facing up on every one of them that she's got laid out, we know which way it needs to be orientated. You want the rough side facing away from your bushings.
Some of them it's hard to tell.
Some of them it's very hard to tell. There's just a little bit of sharpness to it. You can look at them with a bright light and kind of see it. It's just the way it's machined, the way it's been cut. It's kind of a pain. That's the only part about this kit I don't like. I wish they would figure out a way to make it where the snap rings didn't matter. All right, so you've done a couple practice runs. Mm-hmm. So what's the hardest thing? Is it removing the old GM trunnions and needle bearings out with the vise, or is it the snap ring pliers?
It's the snap ring pliers.
All right. So
I'm afraid of actually breaking the snap ring.
I have one extra snap ring. All right, so you're dipping the trunnion in some fresh Dextron 3, because I have some of that laying around. Both sides, right? You did both sides.
Yes, I did both sides.
Yep. And that's our bronze bushings. And then the hard part is working a pair of pliers that works backwards.
It's actually the hardest thing. Come on. There we go. Woo!
So then you insert it into the rocker itself, right?
Yep.
And then you install another brass bushing.
Yep.
And then another of the fun things.
Yep.
These are fun things? You like these?
The fun things.
Okay.
Yes.
These are
really fun things.
These are your favorite?
Yeah. I mean, it's an easy kit. I would hate to see how the other one
There's some that press in.
went.
Like, you know how you press them out?
Yeah.
There's some that press in.
Oh, that'd be nice.
You think so?
I don't know.
I don't either. This right here, this kit here, me and CHE, we're friends.
I've seen you do this one like numerous times.
Yeah. Now show them what's going on here.
Okay,
right?
so it got stuck.
It got stuck. It's on there.
It's on here.
Yeah.
But I just have to
push down
on it and it pops in place.
Pops in place. Yep, exactly. And before I get a bunch of comments about taking the snap rings off this workbench, the workbench looks dirty, but it's clean as can be. We wiped it clean before we put all the snap rings on it. So show them the movement there, 360 degrees, right? Mm-hmm. The other one stopped. They had to lock a lock to lock, and they stopped. So big cam, this is the way to go. I think she's getting the hang of it. So if y'all been watching for a while and y'all didn't know, about 90% of the harnesses that come out for all the LTs motors we do, she strips them. And this is her first trunnion kit. But she's watched me do it so many times that I didn't think she needed a lot of direction. So honestly, I didn't give her a whole lot of direction at all. I just kind of said, hey, here's the snap rings, and make sure they're facing the right way, and read the instructions right here. Always read your instructions. Always.
Oh, I don't need that yet.
We really like the CHE kit. I mean, we're never sponsored by anybody. We're not that big. If they want to send me something, please do. But if you're looking for a turn-in upgrade for an LT, LS, don't look any further. There's nobody else out there that can compare. This is the best kit on the market. For ease of install and quality, they cannot be beat.
I always want to grab that.
So what she's doing is she figured out a little trick. The snap ring pliers will only grab so much of that circle of that snap ring when you first pick them up from that workbench. If you kind of give it a little push with your fingers, she's able to get a little bit more of a bite on that snap ring, which will allow it to kind of sit further in the little snap ring plier part. If that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe you can show them what you're talking about.
Okay.
So if you pick it up off the workbench right now, like she's doing,
If it'll let me.
you're only getting so much of a bite. Now, if you see what she does? Gives a little push, got more bite. More bite, more better. And what she did is something that I would do naturally, just because I've been doing these kits for a long time. But it's stuff that you kind of forget to tell somebody else that's trying to do a kit. So I thought that was pretty cool that she figured that out kind of by herself. She was like, oh, if I can push this up, it'll hold it better. And she's kind of continuing with something that I've done, is I always try to make sure that I'm lined up with the CHE logo. It's not a have-to thing. It's just a, I don't know,
Obsessive compulsive thing?
maybe. I mean, you know, you only get to see these once after you install them and you put the valve cover back on. So when they're installed for the first time and everything's lined up perfectly, it's something. It's a thing. Awesome. All right, so she's all done. all finished up, and luckily, thank you to CHE, we now have 2 extra snap rings. So every great once in a while we end up with an extra one, which is awesome. So I've been hanging on to one for a long time. Now I've got 2. Just in case you open one up too much and bend it, it happens. And that way now we got 2. So, and this is just a cheap Harbor Freight set of snap ring pliers. I'm sure there's better ones out there. The roughness part, figuring out which is rough.
Yeah, figuring out which is rough and which isn't. I think that's the stupidest thing too.
And that's kind of the way it reads in here. Is it? I don't think it says rough, but it says let's see, sharp edge of the ID. Sharp edge of the ID. So you can feel it. But there's a few, and I helped her with a couple that were kind of borderline. It's like, hey, which one's sharp, which one's not.
Yeah.
So for anybody wanting to mail us a set of trunnions and CHE kit, what do you charge?
Oh, I'm charging you $100.
Oh my! And see, I only charge $50, so this is now cost me $50. So please, everybody, subscribe, like, share, ring the notification bell. Have a good one. Thumbs up this thing. I need money. We'll see you on the next one.